A ton of people commented on a previous video I made saying that I didn't do the second ball break correctly. So I went back to the drawing board. I did more research and I pulled from two of my favorite instructors on YouTube, Dr. Dave and Jeremiah Gage. I took their key points, combined them, and then actually tried to apply them in this video. I broke 100 racks and tracked everything. Which balls went into which pockets, how many times I scratched, and all the weird stuff that happened along the way. Before I show you what I found, here's how I kept the experiment consistent. I used the magic rack on every single break to make sure that the rack was always tight. I placed a small sticker on the head string and used a ruler, which was roughly 2 inches off the rail, to make sure that the cue ball was always in the same exact position for every break. The only variables I changed were going to be my Q-tip position and my break speed throughout the entirety of the test. And since I went ahead and broke 100 times, I made sure to film this over a few days to avoid any kind of arm fatigue. To start off with, all the balls are going to be in the same exact position for every break, so that way we can get the most consistent result. I'm also going to be using a racking template, and I have 2 other spots down there as well, just to make sure that I have a straight rack every single time. There was one video where I was testing some different breaks, and the rack was actually a little bit off-centered. Also repositioned the tripod so I can get behind it every single time to also make sure it's straight. And this cue ball, this is gonna be exactly 2 inches off of the rail. So everything is gonna be as controlled as possible. Nothing's gonna change other than my human error. All right, break number 1. Okay, not the best, but we made one and that's what matters. Something else that I should also note, through the tutorials that I did watch on YouTube, which there's a lot out there, but only a few good ones that I could find. 2 of them were from Dr. Dave, and one of them was from Bullseye Billiards. When Dr. Dave likes to do it, he likes to use a rail bridge to ensure that the cue stick is as level as possible. And Gage, from Bullseye Billiards, actually uses this corner pocket and has a little bit less of a view on the 9. He would rather have a less view and be more accurate because his cue stick is also more level that way. Okay, the 8 ball almost get to come through. Oh, maybe. Oh. Oh, that was a new one. The 10 was going and it actually hit the 9 in. Oh, finally made the 8 ball. So what I noticed mostly with the first 20 racks was the idea of the 15 ball going to the corner, which was correct, right? Which was verified. And then the actual surprising factor of the 10 ball making it through the traffic and going again to the side kind of consistently. With the next set of racks, number 21 through 53, I want you guys to mainly focus on the pattern confirmation. What I want you guys to pay attention on is going to be, again, the 10 ball, and I also want you to keep an eye on the 7 ball as well and how that reacts throughout those same breaks. Bam! So we finally got one in this corner, so we've officially made a ball in every pocket. Oh, it was going until the 9 hit it. First, maybe that's the second scratch. Maybe that's the second time it's gone into a pocket. Third time I think I've scratched total. Oh, wow. That one I actually hit the head ball first, which is why it flew this way. that was a new reaction. Bam! 10 ball again. So now that we've gotten through half of the breaks, let's go ahead and move on to what I call this section, variation testing. So I want you guys to keep an eye on some different random balls that are gonna be spread out. So one is gonna be the 5 ball, the 14, as well as how the cue ball reacts when it bounces back off the rail. So keep an eye on those ones for this next section. It is officially day 2 in yesterday's fiasco. We were able to accomplish 53 breaks total. We're gonna go ahead and keep going, shall we? Good start. Oh, scratched again. Darn it. Oh, that was a new one. Oh.
Almost.
So from racks 69 through 88, I want you guys to focus on a couple different balls here. One, I want you guys to focus on how the cue ball reacts, where it actually hits the rack itself amongst the break. I also want you guys to keep an eye on the 3 ball and how it connects with the 8 ball. That'll be important and you'll understand why in here just a second. Oh wow, that 15. There it goes. I need some help, but I got there. Oh, that 10 ball almost made it. Still. And you know I hit the 1 ball head on. That 15 did go in though.
Alright. There's 15. Oh.
8 ball. Yes. Yes. With breaks number 89 through 100, we're gonna go ahead and call this section the finale. I want you guys to focus on the key balls that actually had a lot to do with this experiment. Balls like the 7, 9, 10, and 15. And there is gonna be a little bit of a surprise with a head ball, ball number 1.
Oh. 10 ball.
8 ball almost went. 7 almost went. 15 almost went. 1 ball. Ooh.
7 and 9. 10 ball made it. Interesting.
Oh man. Oh, I made 3 in 1. What was this one? That's the first time I made 3 on 1 break, and I scratched. Oh. The 10 ball. I made the 10 ball the most out of any other ball on the rack. Let's go ahead and get all these stats together and let's go through them. After a total number of 100 breaks, I did scratch 7 times. Luckily, it's easy math, so I did scratch 7% of the time. The total number of breaks that a ball was actually made, which means I would actually be able to continue shooting that rack, 50% of the time. So 50 out of 100 breaks, I made a ball. Total number of balls was 62 though, so it was over 1 ball per break that I did make. And I did make the 8 on the break twice. This one really surprised me. The most popular balls that I made a list. I was able to make 10 total balls out of 15. The 10 ball, which is gonna be on the right side of the head ball, was actually the one that I made the most. I made this ball 22 times total out of the 100 breaks. The 15 ball came in next. So this back corner ball was actually the one that was most talked about amongst the tutorials that I watched, as well as the comments that I was able to receive. It happened twice as well that I was able to highlight in this video, where the 15 and the 13 would both come down to this rail, and then the 15 would actually react off of 13. 15 would hit the rail, come back, hit the 13, and then go straight back into this pocket. One time it bobbled, but the other time it actually went into the pocket. I don't know if that's a fluke or something that you can plan for, but it was still really cool to see that this 15 ball still found a way to get down here. I did make the 7 ball 8 times, and I think that could have been more, but it also could have been less. That's definitely not one that I would plan to have a same reaction every single time. That one is heavily dependent on how fast you hit that cue ball into the rack itself. This 14 ball actually did find its way to that corner pocket as well. There were a couple times that it would need a couple of hits coming from this side and push it over. The cue ball actually, it reacted with the 14 one time I noticed, and the 6 ball actually came straight this way. I didn't make the 6 ball, but I did get close. The 5 ball, which is something that Dr. Dave mentioned a couple times, and how if you hit it sometimes, if you don't make the 15, sometimes you'll make the opposite corner. So here I have every single rack and the balls that I made, or the racks that I didn't make anything. One thing that stuck out to me the most was that rack number 1, the very first rack I was able to make for this corner ball into the corner pocket, the 15. And I was like, okay, well now I'm gonna see how often I can actually make this 15. I was expecting it to be the most popular by a long shot. And I made the 10 ball, which even before that rack was still the most consistent, and I thought that was pretty cool. Another thing I thought was super odd and super cool was a rack 34 through 38. 5 racks in a row, I made the 10 ball every single time. From rack number 34 to rack number 52, I made the 10 ball 10 times. So that's everything I found from breaking 100 racks. It was actually super interesting seeing the patterns that popped up over time, especially the 10 ball and 15 ball doing their thing over and over again. If you want to mess around with this break yourself, I went ahead and put the magic rack that I used in the description and the top comment as well. It honestly made this a whole experiment possible and is so much easier because it ensured that every rack was tight and consistent. But yeah, that's the breakdown. If you like this video, go ahead and let me know. And if you want me to test something else, be sure to drop that in the comments as well. Thank you guys so much for your unwavering support, and I really do appreciate everything you guys do for me. This has been Trent on the Break. All right, well, that's a great way to end it. I didn't make nothing.